Good day, everyone. My name is Arthur Maxwell II, and we are going to be interviewing Justus Hawkins. Justus, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, Arthur. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So Justus, he's a good friend of mine from Morgan State University. We all went to community college, Prince George's Community College to be exact, together. Um, he is currently a rising senior, majoring in strategic communication. Um, And during his first year, he has joined two honor societies. He has become a student leader, the vice president for his chapter's National Association for Black Journalists. Currently, he is interning in the HBCU in LA program, and he's completing the business journalism program at Bloomberg. Congratulations again, Justus.
Appreciate it, King.
Last summer, um, he had worked as the social media manager for This Is My Baltimore, which was a joint multimedia project with the Baltimore Sun that aims to show the true spirit of Baltimore City residents. He has participated in the America East Hackathon, a media brainstorming session in advance of the America East News Media and Technology Summit. Justus, along with a group of students from various universities, to successfully pitch their idea to revamp a Latino-based newspaper. Justus holds the ideals of integrity and honesty very closely and relays those in his writings. In his spare time, he interviews creatives and shares their stories through his blog. He has also worked at the Baltimore Times as a staff writer, covering hyper-local stories about Baltimore residents. I, I just want to know that I did all I could with what I was given, is a quote that he lives by. When he is not writing, he enjoys attending concerts, binge watching anime, and creating new memories with his family. Upon graduation, he seeks to find a job in the world of public relations and create a platform for local artists. Welcome, my brother.
Welcome, my brother.
You gonna,
Thank you.
are you gonna sing a song for us?
No. Hey, singing days they're on hold for now.
Everybody that hears my name, they start singing.
The
Every day
Arthur
when you
theme song.
walking across the street, everybody that you meet.
It's actually a really good song. Chance the Rapper, Wyclef, and a variety of artists actually did like a kind of like remix of that song a couple years ago. It's pretty great. Take a turn. If you haven't heard it, check it out.
So anyway, so Justus, how do you define protest? Like, how do you protest?
Protest? I think a protest is just anything where the people have just had enough and they are actively using their voices, their bodies, and the other mediums to advocate for change or their dislike of something.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So why is protesting important?
Like, period?
Mm-hmm. Like,
oh,
why is protesting important?
Bro, because protesting is the point. A lot of people are upset right now, say that because they think that, I don't understand why everybody is protesting. But protesting is literally like, it's like the spark in the powder keg. Like, everyone's just sitting there chilling all cool. There's been injustice going on for about 400 years plus. And then there's been small little fires happening. We've seen them all. We've read about them. Like, we've heard about them from our own families. And as of lately, the circumstances that are surrounding the world right now, it's just like, it's powder keg explosion, and it's going off everywhere, and I love it.
Fact. Do you think, I have a side question. Do you think that this is due just to the recent atrocities, or is it built up?
No, man, it's built up. Like, sorry, my lip just went up out of anger. But it's built up. I mean, I'm sure you can talk to your parents about instances of racism or prejudice or discrimination in their lives. You can talk to your elders about it. It's all built up. I mean, I have great aunts. I've talked to them before. People used to spit at them from the white kids used to spit at them from the bus windows when they were going to school. I remember just one story my dad told me. My dad is 3 out of 5 children. My last 2 uncles are twins, and they were like doing something, and someone kept messing with my uncle. So he pushed the kid and he rolled down the hill. Of course, what does his mother do? Karen calls the police. It's like, what are you calling the police for? You were messing with my brothers. Like, even down to me, I have my own stories of racism and so forth, and discrimination and so forth. But it's all a buildup. It's the global things that have been happening. It's the national things that have been happening, the local, and people just had enough.
Right. Why is that? Why you decided to protest?
Have I had enough? Yeah, I've had enough. I had enough. I think my first instance of this globally was the death of Trayvon Martin back in 2012, and that was actually I went to a rally for the first time for Trayvon Martin in DC, and that was just one of the most like uplifting events I've ever been to. Like holistically, like everyone's there on one accord, wanting change and so forth. I went to like a Bring Back Our Girls rally. If you remember, that happened a couple years ago too, around the same time.
It was
But I
led
mean,
by Michelle Obama, I believe.
Yeah, but she wasn't there that day. It was just it was just us outside the building, like
Well, the
demanding
campaign
that
at
like
least
action be
was.
taken. What do you say?
I said, I guess the campaign at least was ran. I mean,
Yeah, she
it was like she
you
was
know,
like the face
the
of it at
face.
least, right?
And so she was the face, we were the legs. But
I'm dead. Oh my gosh.
it's just too much, man. Like I've had too many instances of just racism, prejudice, ignorance, discrimination type things. I've seen too much, and people just had enough. I chose to go out there because personally, I understand that my body has is political. Like everything about us is political when you think about it. Like Black people are everything. Our hair, how we dress, everything. It's always a statement.
Yes.
It's always something. So I recognize that my body has meaning. Me being here shows my presence, shows another Black person who's tired of it. Me being here, it says I'm here for change. Me being here says I will advocate for change. I use my voice for change to really get across to what we're really trying to do, and that Black lives do matter across the board.
Yes. Yes. So how did you prepare to go to the protest? And like I don't mean I brought water and I brought like a mask. I mean, how did you prepare, whether it was spiritually, emotionally, psychologically? How did you prepare just overall?
First of all, I did bring water and I did bring a mask. And
Wow, okay.
I don't think oh man. And I got a brand new pair of walking shoes that I wore that day, which was just a terrible mistake anyway, because walking in DC you know how it is. But how did I prepare myself?
Potholes.
I mean, honestly, all those different types of things I didn't really think about. I think I just put myself back in the space 2012. When we went to the Trayvon Martin rally, just like thinking to myself, no matter what happens today, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. Don't worry. Keep your mind on the goal. If you get shot, you get shot. It's just, a casualty of progression. and at the end of the day, you'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Anna didn't eat. Yeah. You really can't. I mean, me personally, I don't like to eat before stuff like that because, like, I don't want to use the bathroom. Like 4 hours into protesting because there's no bath. Like with Corona going on, people really aren't allowing people to use bathrooms. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So how many have you been to? More than one protest or just one so far?
I went to one in DC. I went to the one over the weekend. So about 2 so far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
But I mean,
Go ahead.
Oh no, you can say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say, like, so let's talk about the DC one first, since that was a little bit older.
Okay.
What happened, like, before, during, after?
So I mean, like, so I found out about it through my friend. He's Mr. NAACP, and I just called him one day, routine check-in call. How are you doing? Like, oh man, I'm doing great. We're gonna go
What's
to a
his name?
protest today. Aaron Cordy. He said, we're gonna go to a protest today. You're more than welcome to join us. And I was like, bro, sign me up. Of course I'm going. So
Beautiful.
him, his girlfriend Natalie, Micah Robinson, they had all kind of like, organized it, and the NAACP members. So it was the ride there was just great. I'm actually doing a story about it, so look out for that soon. But when I got into the car, I as you know, I was in the choir for a semester, but I generally was kind of asleep in the class a lot of times. It's just like a very, very restful class. Yeah. I know. Everyone, how can you sleep in choir? Because I was tired. But Michael was in choir, but never got to meet him in choir, due to, me being in a different section of singing with him. And like, our paths never really met. So I met him that day. So we're driving down the road, and I explained to him, my history of just going out there, advocating where I grew up from and everything. And he started sharing his history with me. He's from Pasadena, California. He moved to Maryland to come here. He never wants to go back to California. He was telling me how, like, California, people are just so racist and just so ignorant. And he said he's had enough of trying to fit in with white people and prove that he's better than them, or prove that he belongs in spaces that they typically dominate. And like he's like, I'm over it. Then, fun fact, he was like, yeah, and my great uncle is Jackie Robinson. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. And I was like, and he's got another relative who was a figure in the civil rights movement along Dr. King and his group. But the name I'm forgetting at the moment. But his history of activism and his family's history of activism and so forth was something that really got me, that really invigorated me as we drove down. It was just a really it was just like it's just so great being in a car with other Black men. We're talking about everything. Sometimes I feel, as Black people, sometimes, or just as people in general, but as people who are like advocating for change and so forth, people really expect us all to be a certain way. Oh, like people often tell me I look serious, which I really don't think I look serious. I'm just thinking a lot.
You are thinking.
Maybe I look serious. But we talked about the versus battle between Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. Mike has shared the good places to party in DC. Aaron, was describing, what he wants to do in life and finding his passion and so forth. So like, it wasn't just like, protest on the way down. Like, we had a really good conversation about everything.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes as Black people, we're not allowed that space to kind of have like diverse conversations. Like you just think, okay, since we're all going here, let's talk about this for an hour and a half. But no. So the ride there was great. So the first protest we were going to go to was organized by another Morgan student, but that kind of fell through. So we went to another one. This one was like in U Street, 5 minutes walking distance away from Ben's Chili Bowl, which is not allowing more than 3 people in the restaurant. So kind of hurt, couldn't go there after the protest, and we went to rejoice and so forth. But so we got there at U Street, the organizers, giving their history, their background, why we're here today, things like that type of stuff. Everyone was there that you could think of. Trans people were definitely there. Gay people were there. Black people were there. Straight Black people, white people, Hispanic people, Latinx people. Everyone is a huge turnout.
What
Like
about
every
like
time you look around,
what about the age demographic?
I would say it was probably 18 to like 30s out there, 35.
Okay.
Maybe even 40. And there was some outliers as well, but generally speaking. But it was just a great place. We said the names of fallen Black people who were killed at the hands of police brutality and injustice. Then we began, that probably lasted for about an hour or so. People voicing how they feel, saying their names, things like that. Then we proceeded to move towards the White House. Now, there was probably about 500 people there, 500 to 600. So that was also the day DC went into phase 1. So it was just this mob of people walking down the street, signs, Black Lives Matter, chanting no justice, no peace, no racist police, all the chants that we've been saying lately. And you just see people on the side of the road just recording with their phones. People are honking, people coming out of restaurants, throwing the fist up like, yo, we're with y'all. Just a great feeling. I actually lost my voice that day, me and Aaron, just trying to, get everything going.
I could imagine.
Yeah. And so things really didn't get hazy until we approached the White House. And this was, I'm not sure which entrance, but it was not Lafayette Park. It wasn't that way. So as we were approaching the White House, out of nowhere, in the blink of an eye, these police officers just showed up, automatic rifles, get the fuck back, move, like putting the gates on everything. So, we backed up. We're like, okay, so what are we gonna do next? Like, organizers, what's up?
Right.
People kept rushing the gate anyway. It was so funny. Somebody else.
What happened?
Somebody, white people be our shield. The white people just go in the front, they're getting maced and everything. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Whoa.
I was in the proximity of it. I swallowed a little bit. I wasn't, too badly affected, but it was just like, wow, this is really happening. Like, people are really
just a little bit of the tear gas.
Yeah.
Wow. People
are just peacefully protesting, and here comes this militant police for 3 people. Like, what's going on? Like, no one has guns. No one's yelling, we're going to blow up the White House or obscenities or anything like that. But now they shut that down. So after that, we proceeded to move towards Lafayette Park, where I would say, again, 500, 600 people on the gates, agitating security, moving further and further and further, knocking down the barriers, moving further and further and further. At this point, no one had been tear gassed or maced or anything like that. But there was definitely a squad of people out there with their automatic weapons, and just at this point, me and my friends, we were on the statue chilling, kind of taking everything in. And it was just like, wow, this is the country that we live in. And I'll say one thing, marching in DC is just it's such an interesting experience, because I think it's Freedom Plaza. We started marching down Freedom Plaza after we left Lafayette Park. We went to the Capitol, and I believe we were passing through Freedom Plaza, and I was just enraged as I'm walking down the street and I'm looking up at these buildings, and the First Amendment is etched into the side of the building, clear as day.
Wow.
The right to peacefully assemble, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to speak, freedom to address the government, all these things. And I'm like, and we're literally doing this right now, but where is Where is that, you know, where is that freedom? This shouldn't come with people holding guns at us. This shouldn't come with people getting maced and tear gas. This shouldn't come like this. This is literally what the government is. It's written in the fabric, woven in this nation. So it's crazy to me that you have these people who are literally using their rights to promote change and so forth, and they're being attacked for it, especially in contrary to what we saw weeks earlier to, you know, the Caucasian groups of people who are an inch away from the police officers' faces, not wearing masks, just, we want to open up. And I know we're all watching and thinking, this, if that was me, that would have thrown me to the ground immediately. After that, it was getting dark, so we dipped. Like, we don't want to be out. We don't want to be out in the dark with police officers circling the area. Like, that's just not a good look. It's not a good vibe. Anything can happen in the dark, you know. Yeah. So we went home after that, but that was it. How was the ride going home? It was straight. Definitely hungry, so we had some snacks. Shout out to 7-Eleven. Unless you support Donald Trump, then don't shout out 7-Eleven. Or I hope they don't support Donald Trump. 7-Eleven. That was the best 7-Eleven I've ever been to. Like, in terms of, like, presentation and cleanliness, like, it was giving 3-star restaurant.
There's a lot of chains that support. I mean, once I saw Pizza Hut, I said, "Oh man."
Do you eat Pizza Hut though?
Pizza Hut. I was saying, like, the Pizza Hut's like the best pizza to me, you know. And I found that out, and I was like, "Dang."
I saw that list, and I'm pretty good on most of the things on the list. Like, I don't really eat fast food too often. The only thing I was on there, I was like, okay, McDonald's. I eat that, every 3 to 6 months? Chick-fil-A? No. IHOP? Rarely. Like, so I saw that list, and I wasn't too, like, deterred or anything. But I do think I think, you know, economic crippling is definitely a big thing. And I think, as you know, pertains to the police force, that should be one of the things that we're promoting as a group of hurt people.
Do you think that we should defund the police?
Yeah, man, eradicate the whole system. Take it down, restart. Find out different measures to do different things. There doesn't always need to be a police officer. Like, prime example, I was watching this TV show, forget what it's called, but the boy has autism. And he was, like, walking down the road. He was just, like, you know, minding his own business. And someone called the police, or something happened, and the guy was like, you know, stop. And he just kept walking, like he didn't understand what was going on. So you got your gun pulled out on someone who has autism. Like, everything that needs to be reworked. Like, for one, we all know the prison industrial complex is not even basically, it's legalized slavery. The 13th Amendment had that amendment that said, like, unless you go to jail or prison, something like that. And then what do we see? The start of mass incarceration. We see Black people they made up law. Loitering? How is standing somewhere a crime? Like, literally standing somewhere. It's ridiculous. So the whole system needs to be reworked. And all those companies who benefit from prison labor, they need to pay these families back, because what they've been giving them is nothing. People leave jail in a worse situation than what they came in. Like, where's the rehabilitation? Where's the psychological aspect? Where's the actual adequate food, beds, so forth? We put all this money in the jails. I'm not trying to, and you give them concrete slabs to sleep on. Other countries have jails, and they're freaking amazing. But it's just like, I feel like because the majority of the population there is Black people, they're penalized in these terrible beds, these terrible conditions. And it's like, where does the actual recidivism begin? Everyone's not like Malcolm X. You know what I mean? Find out different ways. Actually bring in people, bring in psychologists, bring in dietitians, nutritionists. Like, if you really want to help people, help them. Don't keep them in a box. Break them out when it's time for work or to go play in the yard. and then put them back into the same environment that they left. This could jail is potentially more chaotic than what you come from. So it's crazy. Like the whole system needs to be reworked. The whole system. People who fund jails, who create jails, the policies that are protecting jails, the prison quotas, Arthur.
Yep.
Why are there prison quotas?
Right.
Come on, man. Come on. That it's just it all needs to be reworked. Look, how policing looks in this country, what policing is, who is allowed to police, how long you should train to be a police officer for, in-depth studies on personal biases and so forth, and classes and instruction and things like that. Because I mean, no matter how you do, we all have internal biases against people.
Mm-hmm.
But me being Black, I see the spectrum of Blackness.
Mm.
More oftentimes than not, white people are raised around white people. So all you see is the quote unquote bad things that they put on the media. Man robbed store today, alleged criminal, and they never say Black. They use words like criminal,
monster,
terrorizer, monster, mugger, words like that. And so it all needs to be reworked. It all needs to be reworked. And those people who pass those laws and so forth, there needs to be some type of penalty on them. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, like,
yo,
you need
they did us dirty, man.
Pay restitution to those Black families that you destroyed. And that goes back to well, all the presidents in general, but oh my God, I can't think of his name right now.
I don't know which one you're talking about. The New Deal?
No, the one before Nixon. Who's before Nixon? Was it the Watergate guy?
Nixon is the Watergate guy.
Okay, gotcha. So Nixon, I'm thinking about Reagan.
Yeah,
all of them. They all need those families need to pay.
So it was Carter, Reagan, and Bush.
Restitution, all of them.
So it was John F. Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson, Richard Nixon, and then Gerald Ford, and then Carter, and then go ahead.
Pay restitution. Pay everyone who signed those bills to be enacted. Pay restitution. You literally have separated Black families for generations and destroyed them.
If anybody's listening to this and really wants or needs to read more about this, read The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. It was written by the scholar Michelle Alexander. But also, you should also read Push Out, The Criminalization of Black Girls in Schools. And that's written by Monique Morris. And Monique Morris talks about how literally like Black girls are being suspended and getting into the system, and like they're being sent straight to prison as well, particularly Black girls are. But the New Jim Crow is talking about Black people in general. Go ahead, Justus.
Also, if you have Netflix, you should watch The 13th. It's a documentary that Ava DuVernay did along with several other people. And it's on Netflix if you have Netflix.
Absolutely. So when you think about Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Laquan Daniel, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, Baltimore, Jamar Clark, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile,
Breonna Taylor, Rakia Boyd, Sandra Bland.
But them John, like George Floyd. So like when you think about these
Atiana Jefferson.
When you think about these people's names and you think about them being killed in the hands of police officers, right? Now I want to just add this in. I'm the interviewer, so I shouldn't be even saying a lot, but I want to also say that even with me saying the names of Black people that have been killed by police, like I said a lot of male names just now. I didn't say transgender names. I didn't say, you know, females' names. I said a lot of male names. And that just shows how, you know, sexism plays a role in like our societal framework. And so I even have to check myself with understanding that, hey, like I know that like the media pushes a lot of Black men who are killed by police, and even Black women push, like Black women fight for Black men more than any other demographic. It's just that we need to take a, a critical look at ourselves to say, you know what, am I including the Black women's names? You know, because I'm saying a whole bunch of Black men's names, but I should be saying a whole bunch of Black women's names as well. So I just wanted to point that out. So go ahead, Justice.
That's the question.
Oh, my bad. Like the question is, when like you would think about these people's names, you know, people like Rekia Boyd, Atiana Stanley Jones, Michelle Kuze, Kayla Moore, Maram Carey, a whole bunch of women. I want to include women's names now. I'm sorry, I apologize. When you think about these people that have been killed in the hands of police for literally no reason, like literally for reasons that don't add up, that don't make sense. People justify these killings based upon somebody having supposedly, apparently having a counterfeit bill, or apparently they got into a scuffle, or you know, apparently they thought that she thought that it was her home, so she just went in there and shot. Like, so when you think about these instances, and even the hundreds and thousands of instances that happen that are not even reported, and the ones that are reported but don't have this type of coverage, how does that make you feel?
How does it make me feel, bro? That's it makes me sad. It makes me angry. It makes me want for a better world. It makes me want to do better. I mean, that stuff, it tears you apart inside, because you know I don't think white children, I don't think, you know, Asian children, I'm not really sure, but I don't think they grow up with their parents telling them, you gotta be safe when you go out here. You gotta, walk a certain way, act a certain way, do this a certain way. And so so me being Black, me being a man, there's so many things that are, people look at me, they assume I'm going to act a certain way. They assume I'm going to do this a certain way or anything a certain way. And, it's just to say, like, it doesn't matter what you do, you're always a target. So when you hear those names of those fallen people, it's a reminder to you, to me, that they're not saying like there is no safety, but like there's really no telling if you won't be the next name, if you won't be a hashtag, if I won't be a hashtag. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about today, could I run on the track? And I remember when I lived back in Calvert, I used to run throughout a white neighborhood. And like in the back of my mind, I was always like, okay, like I'm in here, like, hope no one calls the police. Hey, this guy is running throughout the neighborhood. I don't know, he might steal something. And I'm running up and down the streets all throughout the cul-de-sacs and so forth. At one point, I even started running at like 6 a.m. So like, I'm like all times throughout the day, like, I'm in here. And, in the back of my mind was always like, I hope no one calls the police on me, because I'm just literally exercising. Like, who doesn't like to exercise? Some people don't like to exercise, but I mean, just, the simple fact of this running
Mm-hmm.
can be seen as scary to white people can be seen as a threat. And it's just like those types of things, I mean, it just keeps it in the back of your mind. You never really know what tomorrow is going to bring. And so when you hear those names of those fallen, those fallen Black people, it just makes you angry. It makes you sad. Realization, the work isn't done. It's never been done. It needs to keep getting done. It's not going to get done overnight or a year or 5 years. It's going to take comprehensive and like with the world's most in-depth microscope to really look at things and figure out what is going on. Why are we like this? And it takes a great part on everyone's end. Us, me and you have to keep doing our research and so forth. We can't be swayed by Twitter fingers people and things like that to, inform our opinions on certain things. Like, it's important that we as Black people consume different types of media that are also, entertainment, infotainment, or, like, you don't always have to read a book. You can listen to I love podcasts. I like watching videos, but, we have to inform ourselves in these different things. We have to start, branching out, learning about policy and what laws are in effect right now and how those laws, affect us. And, keep pressing for change, keep pressing our politicians, keep pressing our leaders, keep pressing each other to be vocal about it. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, like this is such a monumental time in American history and global history. I don't think we've ever seen large masses of people talk directly to state governors, mayors, and so forth before. Like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. When I hear those names, it's not just it's everything. It's everything you feel. Like, you feel your brother, you feel your sister, you feel your mom, your dad, your grandma, your aunt, because like it don't matter. Like, Breonna Taylor could have been a grandmother and she would have been dead. She like an auntie dead. Like, it just brings up so much, man.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to your other protest experience. When you decided to go to one of the best HBCUs in the country, the illustrious Morgan State University, to protest, what happened like before, during, and after that experience?
Well, I just want to clarify. That was more of a march, more so than a protest.
Okay.
But
Can you explain the difference for the people?
So we were just like kind of like marching throughout the campus, around like the entire campus, gathered. It was organized by a Black woman. Her name is La. Well, she goes by La. She's a Delta. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and she organized it. And it was a call to action for Greeks to come and show their support and so forth, for the movement. And it was led by there was like 3 different speakers. One of them, I'm sure was Chinedu. But it wasn't really a protest. It was just just a peaceful march. And I think it's just all in changing the word and the verbiage of things. I think the word protest comes with like a lot of like connotations like rioting and so forth, and that word can already like kind of put you on edge. But if you hear people are marching, it doesn't sound as intimidating,
right,
or threatening. So that's my take on the difference. I think it's just a slight change of words, and the actions are a little bit different, like, Okay. But my experience, it was cool. I got there late. I thought it started at 2, it started at 1:30, but that didn't really matter. I would say that experience for me,
that's not
was
too
honest.
That's not
yeah,
I got
there like 1:45. I was like,
that's not too late.
Whoa, 15 minutes late. But I was scared because I didn't know if they were going to like start marching. But I
Right.
believe there was something going on the quad. They had like a moment of silence and then proceeded to march to the police station, which is just a hop away from campus. It's literally right next to Thurgood. Then we just proceeded to, go up the Hillen Road and Cold Spring and circled everything back to the gas station, back to Martin Jenkins building. But I would say that was probably one of the most peaceful things I've gone to concerning like everything happening now. And it was just such a great feeling, man. Like there's just going out there and just, we were like in traffic and stuff and people just honking their horns and, we're here with you. And you see the kids pressing their face against the window, trying to figure out what's going on. And they're just like smiling and stuff like, wow, look at all this is going on. This is so amazing. Like for me, like that made my heart so glad. Like, cause it's just like, this is all for you. And people are coming after you. Like, we're not out here for our health. Best believe that. Black people are the most susceptible to coronavirus. So we're not out here for our health. Let that be said. We're out here because despite there being a global pandemic around the world, we still need to speak out about the injustice that's happening right here in our own country. And it was just such a great feeling just seeing like the kids press their face against the glass and you looking over and seeing your employee there, and then you see your president there, and you see your professor there, and it's like, hey, look at us, like we're here, like, and this is like, this unifying experience. Like, doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what socioeconomic background you come from. If you're black, you're black. There's no way around it. Like, you can be the richest black person in the world. You're still going to face racism. You're still going to face prejudice, all these types of microaggressions and so forth. So just being out there was just like, it was just like so empowering and invigorating, and just seeing so many Morgan students and seeing people who actually care. Like, then everyone, the majority of everyone was like black, and that was even better. It was like, oh my God, like it was just so great, man. People have brought out snacks and clementines and waters. It was great.
That's beautiful, man. That puts a smile on my face, really. I'm gonna ask you this question as well because you've been to you've been to DC during the reign of President Donald J. Trump. During the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, while protesting for Black life, like not even just for Black Lives Matter, because mattering is just where it starts, but just for Black lives, period, for Black existence on Earth. And I wanted to ask you, has mainstream major news corporations and major news companies reported protests accurately? And like, if yes, then how so? And if not, then how not?
I think it depends on which outlet you're referring to.
I'm talking about, so I think the biggest ones that people generally know about are Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. Let's just keep it at those three.
Honestly, I think they've been doing the best that they can. I'll say that with the advent of, cell phones, everyone having a video and so forth, it gives a more a well-rounded look at certain people who we've seen on the news talk about what's been happening. Prime example, the man in Utah who said he got beat up by Black people. All he said was all lives matter or something, and Black people beat him up and they burned his car and so forth. And he got in the news and said that, and everybody was like, no. Then they released all the footage of him taking a bow and arrow out in the crowd and trying to shooting back, about to do his thing, and then white people came and beat him up. Like,
Wow.
even
Literally, there have been so many times where white people will do things to themselves, to their children, to each other, and blame it on black people. That's been happening for literally hundreds of years in America. But go ahead. Sorry.
Never. And that's crazy. Have you seen the footage of the woman who was in the wheelchair?
Yep.
She came out. She was like,
"Oh, I was just trying to help, and they took my phone and my keys."
And when I first saw the video, she was covered in some type of residue. I was like, dang, that's tough. Man, turns out she's not even handicapped. She's not. She can walk. There's footage of her literally walking to get in her wheelchair and getting into a fight with a woman in a store. She's stabbing people at the protest, causing all this disruption. And the fact of the matter is, that's not going to protect you. And I think the news outlets have probably been doing the best that they can, because we've seen journalists actually getting arrested. We've seen media people actually being arrested live on the news with no explanation. So I believe that certain outlets are doing the best that they can to keep the what's been going on accurate and true. So yeah, I think they're doing the best they can, honestly.
So what can we do to how do I ask this question? Ooh, I wish I was a journalism major. What can we do to end racism in our society? How can we combat racism in our society in a effective way?
How can we end racism in our society?
How can we fight toward it, right? So I think that we both can agree that racism is not going anywhere for the remainder of your life and my life. However, what can we do to fight that system of oppression and racism and white supremacy?
Speak up, create policy change, do what everyone's doing now. Take things into your own hands. Read up about different ways how the country could be. When I say things like eradicate the whole police system, people, what do you mean? We need police. And it's read. No, we don't. We don't. We really don't. We don't need people walking around here to do these types of things and with their guns and so forth and intimidating. We don't need that. Do we need that? We don't need that. But well, I think it's important.
Why do you say that though? Because people will say, "Hey, we need police because police keep us safe in our neighborhoods."
Who says that? White people?
But so what would you say to a black person who would tell you that?
I would say it must be a nice neighborhood. But we learn who came before us, watch the YouTube videos, get their books, read, expand your mind on what a different world can look like. We should, I think, when we're younger, we question everything. But the older we get, for some reason, we stop questioning things and we just allow things to happen because it's the status quo. We should constantly be asking, why? So why is that police officer allowed to have a gun? Who gave them the right to have a gun? You know what I'm saying? And if we keep asking why, and we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until the reasons are, when we find those answers, we can say, well, we don't like that. We don't even like the concept of policing in this country do what police did what? Catch slaves. Mm-hmm. People literally trying to run away from oppressive systems. Catch them, bring them back.
So you're a strategic communications major. You speak a little bit better than me. what kind of questions should we be asking to new white allies? What questions should we be asking to new white allies? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, there's people who feel like me as to being skeptical of white people who are just pro gun law, super Republican white people, and now they're for the cause, or even Democratic white people that I didn't think were necessarily for the cause of, for the cause of the Black empowerment movement. And so, what questions should we be asking those people, white people who are new in the movement, supposedly?
I have no idea. I've never thought about that. Whenever I go to a rally or a march, a protest, however you call it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the questions, if anything, they should be asking us questions. How can we better help you? What can we do that? And it's just like, for one, listen. Don't hear us. Listen. Listen constructively.
They should.
And don't listen to have a response. This is not a and B type of conversation. This is me telling you what's going on and so forth. This is not the time for you to say, oh, well, my father, no, didn't come here for that. Listen, and especially listen to Black women, Black trans women, Black cis women, Black hetero women, Black queer women. Listen to Black women. Black women are single-handedly behind everything great that's ever existed. And I put that on my mother, who's a Black woman, and my grandmother, who's a Black woman.
Got to.
And I mean, that's all I would tell them to do is just listen. Don't come out here or, with this, like, I don't know, savior complex. Like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm saving Black people. Oh. It's more than coming out here. It's literally you reprogramming. And Black people have to do this too. Like, we all have to reprogram ourselves from the things that we've seen and take it in and ingest it. And like I said earlier, we've just said this is the norm. We all have to take those things into account and try to reprogram ourselves. Even when it comes to, like, I was listening to this podcast today about Black women who give birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we already know there's like a disparity between like the like death rates and like birthing complications between Black women in the hospital and white women.
Mm-hmm.
And funny story, before there was actually a schmear. They had like midwives, Black women, typically
right.
Back in the day. They wouldn't go to white hospitals, and white hospitals created these smear campaigns against midwives, which caused Black people to, we bought into the hype, according to the podcast, and Black people started going to integrated hospitals, and that's where you kind of see like, this rate go up of Black women dying who are having children or more complications than their white counterparts. And then, as we go deeper, we go into the history of, also y'all should watch The Grapevine. The Grapevine is great. It's one of my favorite YouTube series about Black millennials, just being Black and having a great conversation. I love it so much. It's amazing. But I was learning, about the father of gynecology. I learned about it from The Grapevine and just more today, and how it was a white man who would do experiments on Black women without any anesthesia, like surgeries and stuff, and do them in front of other white people. Like, oh, look how strong they are. They don't need this. And then, you take all that information, everything you gathered from the Black woman's experience, and then, okay, so we can do this for the white people, but, you give them anesthesia, you treat them better, you actually listen. So like I said earlier, like, just listen. There's so, because combating racism, it literally comes on every front. It comes on the health front, education front, economics, finance, religious, entertainment, even like how everything is made, like everything. It just has to be like, that's just start again. That's just hit the reset button and try to start again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Dr. Joy DeGroy, which is one of my favorite authors, she had wrote this book called Post-Slave Syndrome. And she had defined racism. I posted this earlier today, so I'm just tying this back into that topic. She said that prejudice is equal opportunity. Everyone can be prejudiced. But to be a racist, however, you need to have the power to negatively impact whole groups of people in a systemic and structural level. Jobs, housing, health, education, criminal justice, etc. For example, I may hate you. I may spend nights throwing darts at your pictures, but you still get the loan. When your prejudice can impact my employment, my income, my housing, my healthcare, my level of support / safety with the police, and how I'm portrayed in the media, that's racism. How would you like to respond to that?
I agree. Nothing more. Those type of things you can talk to white people about. What can I do? Go watch this. Go read this book. Go order her book. Go put money in her pocket. You know what I'm saying? Put your money where your mouth is.
Where can Black people, white people, all racist people donate money if they want to donate to the cause?
That's your discretion. There's no like united fund that I'm aware of that addresses the plight of Black people, more so individuals like the families of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So there's there's plenty of websites you can like go to donate money, because white people have much more money than Black people in America, period. So if you're any race and you want to donate to a fund, there is a link in the description. But there's also, if you just Google the official George Floyd GoFundMe account, the hashtag Fight for Bree, for the Breonna Taylor, Justice for Breonna on Action Network, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, the National Bail Fund Network, the North Star Health Collective in Minneapolis, the We Claim the Block, which I really love. Shout out to them. The Black Visions Collective, the Louisville Community Bail Fund, the Black Lives Matter in Louisville.
Did you say the Black Bitches Collective?
The Black Visions.
I'm about to say, hold up.
Visions.
Okay.
Visions. The Action St. Louis and the Advancement Project National Project. Again, it's going to be in my bio on my social media platform. On my social media platforms, it's going to be the link is going to be in the description or in my bio. Now, last but not least, my brother, I wanted to ask this final question. What keeps you hopeful that our descendants will live in a better world?
In history, there's always a change of tides. There's always a different civilization who comes to the number one spot, who takes over, and you just can't keep Black people down. We always find a way to fight. That's what keeps me hopeful.
I don't know if you want any children or anything like that, but what would you like to say to like a teenager in the year 2070? Like if somebody's living in the year
2070? Oh, yeah. What year are we in right now? That's be 50 years. That means I will be 75.
What would you say to a youngster in the year 2070?
I don't know. I don't know what 2070 is going to look like. I don't know. We
But
could be
like
riding
from
scooters
now,
by then.
from now,
In context to what?
in context to the movement of like why you protested. And
I'll say, hey, you. I did it for you. I did it for you. Hopefully things are different in 50 years. But I mean, that's what I can say. I mean, I did it for you. And if you have any questions to ask me, we can go deeper into it. But that's what I would tell them.
Justus, how can everybody reach you, man?
You said what?
How can the listeners reach you?
Oh, through my Cash App, it's $, just
$.
No, just kidding. You can reach me anywhere. My Twitter is blog.Jermaine. No, my Twitter is blog Jermaine. My Instagram is blog.Jermaine. Not period, like not the word, just like the symbol. So blog.Jermaine. Yep, that's how you can reach me.
How do you spell Jermaine for people who don't know Jermaine's?
JERMAINE.
So blog.Jermaine, y'all. All right. So thank you so much, Justus, for hopping on here, Mr. Hawkins. I really appreciate you. I love you, man, as a brother and as a scholar, as a colleague, as a peer. You know what I mean?
Yo, when do you graduate?
I graduated in the fall.
So we should both be graduating together.
Hey, it's lit. So, rising senior, you were already a senior.
Yeah, that's why I said I should have reworded that. I'm actually graduating.
He's already a senior, y'all. But anyway, like I always say, stay encouraged, keep the faith, keep striving, keep believing in yourself. You can do anything. Don't let anybody tell you can't do something, all right? You can do whatever you put your mind to, man. Tell somebody Black that you love them. Because the most important thing that we need right now is love for Black people. Support your Black creatives, support your Black writers, support your Black podcasters, support your Black artists. Why? Because we're systemically oppressed. We're oppressed by white supremacy that's global, and we're suppressed by the individual governments that embrace white supremacy. And so even though racism has affected our psyche, our family structure, our education, our bodies, we still forgive and we still love. Yet we know that we have to protest. We know that we have to advocate. We know that we have to uplift and inspire and encourage our fellow brothers and sisters, because it is our duty and it is our honor and it is our legacy.